See, the inherent dilemma of human beings is such that they create this individual vibrational environment, and then what they do is they want to fit in with others. So since there's a very popular method or system or, you know, law that seems to be very popular around the world, they'll abandon their own personal identity, which is their own field of energy, and they'll just surrender that in exchange for what's in and what's popular and what everybody else is doing. So what happens is you now are not an individual anymore that you can control this environment. You're actually entering into an environment that was created by something else and is in control by something else. So that is why you have to be cautious of these systems and all of these things, the laws of this and that. They're just pulling you into something that they can control you with, because these procedures, don't forget, they've been set in place. This stuff is set in stone. Like it's as it is written, so shall it be done. Boom. And there's no, flexibility with this. So that is a dictatorship. There's no difference for you following the law of attraction than, a criminal in a prison, because you're being told what to do. There's no flexibility with this stuff. Look at the books. They're pretty direct in their wording. When they say that this is the law, they call it the law of attraction. And laws are not meant to be broken. That's why I always discourage you from getting into that stuff, because it's just utter nonsense. The law of attraction. That infers that you should not break the law or go outside the law, because then that's an infraction. That is against the law, and you will be punished if you break the law, because it is unlawful and illegal to break the law. You see? So you have to create your own thing, man. You don't have to call it vibrational environment. Call it whatever you want. It doesn't even have to have a name. You could just, your own whatever. The point that I'm trying to make is that you operate under your own premise of whatever you want it to be. Your own personal space, your bubble, name it whatever you want. Just don't refer to it as imaginary, because it is not imaginary. I've already said that a million times in my past videos. So that's the issue that I've always had with these set systems. That's why I always loved Jeet Kune Do, because it is using no way as way. And I don't practice that stuff. I just always love the philosophy behind it, that he's absorbing what is useful and discarding what isn't, and just be like water. Water can flow and crash, and it assumes any form. And he's right. He was absolutely right. Absorb what is useful to you and just discard the rest, because if something doesn't resonate with you, you're not going to embrace it. And that's life. I mean, it's like a gigantic, buffet table. Come to the table, see what you want, take what you want, and then off you go. The rest of it stays behind. And that's what you should do with your life. Instead of listening to some set system is telling you this is the law. I mean, really, there's no wiggle room with that stuff. They're very rigid. And when you question the law, then you're outside the acceptable boundaries of what is deemed, permissible as far as a follower is concerned. So then you've breached, that confinement area, and now you are thrown into solitary confinement, because now they're looking at you like, how dare you question the law? It's just all utter nonsense. That stuff doesn't work, and it never will. What you're doing is, at any time, whatever you are, wherever you are, and whatever you're doing, you are at some point, in any given moment, a specific frequency that's vibrating in resonant unity as an equivalent to something else. And that is what locks you into that field. That field is either fluid and flexible, or very cemented and static. It depends on the frequency. If you're very low and slow, then you're not moving. You're just like, almost in slow motion. That's why this world is so dense and heavy, because the five senses, they have a very limited scope of observable and detectable a range. So take these things into consideration the next time you pick up one of these books or want to attend a seminar, because you're just going to be fed a load of garbage. And, like I said, it's easily disproven in 1 second. It doesn't have anything to do with the universe. It ties in with religion and science and Scientology and all of that, coming from the same stuff. So, of course, they're going to mislead you and misdirect you and misguide you and give you the wrong instructions and the useless tools. That's exactly the whole premise of it. for you to spin your wheels and go nowhere and get frustrated, discouraged, and then you just lower your vibration. What I'm saying is that, it's easy. You just create whatever you want in your sacred space, whatever name you want to use, and it's there already. The earth has already concurred because the earth is mainly comprised of water because it allows those metaphysical energies to flow through that conduit of water to where you are in the physical, because you want these things to manifest as a vibrational physical equivalent, whether it's a person, an object, an instrument, a fixture, a component, a device, a car, whatever. So it's already a done deal. So you just have to explore the world and discover that there's your opportunities and possibilities, because you have to do the work. But if you are in a fixed set system that is a law, and that law can't be broken because somebody wrote the law, and how dare you even construe, this is not anything other than the only way there is. That kind of nonsense. It's like military dictatorship. If you listen to these people online about the law of attraction, it's always the same stuff. They're pontificating. It's always the same. Assume the feelings of the wishes having already been fulfilled. Why do you want to assume anything? Because that assumption you're operating on a premise of, well, I'm not sure, but I hope that it's true. That's nothing certain. It's not. You're not grounded or rooted in anything. Well, what I'm saying is that you have these things already. You are a powerful energy. You're placing it in your engine of creation, and you got it already. There's no doubt or assumption involved in it. You don't have to play pretend games like assuming that you have it when you really know that you don't. That's really what it is. When you assume the feelings of something, you're playing pretend games with yourself. You're like, well, I pretend that I really have it, but in the back of my mind, I really know that I don't. That's really what's going on. So the universe recognizes that disingenuous space that you're operating from, and that's what you will manifest, things that are of a phony nature. So you have to understand that when you start to indoctrinate yourself into these laws and these systems, what you're actually doing is you're pulling yourself out of your own individual environment, and you're placing yourself into a military training camp that somebody else is running, that somebody else has controlled, and that somebody else operates. So then be prepared to be, subjected to that type of, regimental thinking that you have to listen, because you can't make this stuff up as you go along, because this is the law. And that's why I don't buy into that stuff. I always create my own personalized relationship with what I call the universe, and it's always worked for me. Has it worked out perfectly every time? No, it isn't supposed to, because that's where you learn your greatest lessons from your experiences. It's a mistake when you do it once and you apply it to your life and you never have it happen again. But if it continues to happen, it's not a mistake, it's a pattern of behavior. So, I mean, that's pretty much self-explanatory. But try not to find yourself in any type of law of anything. Unless you're going to be a lawyer, yeah, of course, because then you're going to be making money with the law. But as far as any type of thing using your cosmic energies, the last thing you want to get locked into is any law, because laws are rigid and strict, and they must be obeyed. The universe doesn't work like that. The universe recognizes energy. Whatever you put out, you get back. It has nothing to do with a law, and it's to do with reciprocity of exchange and transfer. You transmit something to a reception point, to a point of reception, and it ping pongs that back to you. That's it. There's no law involved in it. But, just giving you a little insight into why I just don't buy into the law of attraction, because it's just utter nonsense.